Matthew Perry states in his memoir that he came into the world in 1969 screaming and hasn't stopped ever since. He describes his journey as one of trying to find comfort for the pain within. At first, he finds that comfort in vodka, where he admits that he had some temporary relief. However, over time, this addiction didn't seem to be the savior he had hoped for, so he looked for another one. Alone in his apartment one night, he knelt and prayed the following: God, you can do whatever you want to me. Just please make me famous. 3 weeks later, the sitcom that would later be called Friends had found its final actor, Matthew Perry as Chandler Bing. This role brought him unimaginable fame, along with the best cars, houses, famous girlfriends, and celebrity friends. Yet when Matthew Perry writes his memoir at the age of 52, he's still unable to find the solace he seeks, until a profound experience in his kitchen catches his attention. This is what he writes about the experience. As I sat there gazing into the kitchen, I noticed a ripple in the atmosphere. Perhaps someone not at their lowest might have dismissed it as nothing. But to me, it was compelling, something I couldn't ignore. It resembled a tiny wave in the air, unlike anything I had seen before in my life. It was real, true, tangible, concrete. Frantically, I began to pray with the desperation of a drowning man. The last time I had prayed, just before I got Friends, I had struck a Faustian bargain with God, who had simply waited patiently. Here I was, more than a decade later, praying once again. God, please help me, I whispered. Show me that you are here. God, please help me. As I prayed, the small wave in the air transformed into a small golden light. As I knelt, the light gradually expanded until it filled the entire room. It was as if I was standing on the sun, on the surface of something inexplicable. What was happening? Why was I starting to feel better? Why wasn't I terrified? Feeling euphoric now, I tried to shake off my fear, but there was no shaking this off. It was bigger than me. My only choice was to surrender to it, which was not hard because it felt so good. The euphoria began at the top of my head and slowly spread throughout my entire body. I must have sat there 5, 6, 7 minutes, completely immersed in it. For the first time in my life, I was in the presence of love and acceptance, filled with an overwhelming feeling that everything was going to be okay. I knew now that my prayer had been answered. I was in the presence of God. Following this experience, he remained sober for years, transforming his life to the point where he felt called to help those suffering with the same addiction he had. It wasn't a fairy tale encounter as one might hope for. A few years later, he experiences a relapse with drugs, but soon comes out of it. Many called him a hypocrite for establishing a rehab center while still battling his addictions. Still, Matthew Perry never claimed to have completely conquered his demons, but acknowledged that he was a work in progress. He had found the strength to fight them. He had come to the conclusion that he had no power over his disease and that only by surrendering to God could he be redeemed. He knew that his desires had been transformed from within. He no more looked at alcohol, drugs, or fame to save him. He concludes his memoir by writing this: I was a kid from Canada who had all his dreams come true. They were just the wrong dreams.